100 years ago. So I think the idea to make this tower, it's very dynamic, asymmetric, and somehow represent the nature of waterways.
It's this idea that if you live in a city that's got streets that are gridded like rectangles, like in New York, the Empire State Building is always the Empire State Building from no matter where you are.
Exactly.
But as I move around this tower, as I move around Shanghai, the building will always have a different silhouette, a different look to it.
But also, this thing helps a very functional way. When we design a building, we know the asymmetrical shape will help to reduce the wind load.
The one thing that makes this building absolutely unprecedented is the fact that you have not one, but you have two facades on your building.
The Shanghai Tower's unique double skin creates occupiable public space.
We think with double skin, the concept from architecturally is really think it's a vertical city concept. So we said that the outer layer of skin is really a boundary of a city district. And the inner layer skin contains each of them 10 to 15 floors. It's about community.
You're actually trying to create a community, a Chinese community within the tower, stacked up on top of one another. Now, June, we're sitting here talking about this amazing design. I'm looking at this crazy tall model. But the reality is, you built this thing.
That's right.
Can we go inside that space?
Let's go, let's go.
I mean, it's a nice model, don't get me wrong, but I mean, you did build a larger version outside. Wow. It is enormous. I'm now looking at one of the tallest buildings ever built in the world.
So what do you think?
I think it's stunning. I mean, I really haven't ever seen a building that does what this building does.
Shared public space is actually a traditional feature of Chinese cities, just not in skyscraper form. The network of alleyways that wove through much of old Beijing, known as hutong, were a gathering place for residents living in nearby courtyard dwellings. Hutong still exists today, and innovation is helping them keep up with modernization.
We're talking hundreds of years ago, all of Beijing were covered with these very hutongs. Everyone lived in hutong housing.
Yeah, everyone lived in these alleyways, and their houses were courtyard houses.
Hello, how you doing? Hello. Hi, how are you? Show me the way in which you think we can actually hang on to this heritage, but still live in a modern city.
Well, if we come right around the corner, I can show you. Come on in.
So this is the traditional house. You have families living on one side, families on the other side. And what is this?
Well, so part of the courtyard house is actually now vacant, but part of it is still being inhabited. And the issue is, what do you do with the vacant parts? You know, they're not in very good conditions. So our solution is this prefab design.
So basically what I'm looking at is a series of individual pieces that basically come together, like as you said, a kit of parts, to form a room.
Yes, and what we're going to do is we're going to assemble them inside the house and bring up
And so inside of that, just to be clear, you have all your electricity, you have the lighting already turned on, plumbing gets plugged right in. That thing is literally a six-sided object assembled inside the hutong, ready to be lived in.
Yeah, when you connect the panels, you're also connecting all the utilities.
This urban regeneration project brings modern living standards and energy efficiency to existing structures that are centuries old.
So if this idea, if this pilot works here in this one example, the possibility is it could work all over.
Yeah, if it works here, it'll work everywhere.
While some are trying to preserve China's cultural heritage, the Shanghai Tower is reimagining that heritage, weaving this community fabric into the facade of a high-tech super tower.
Typically, all you need to do is have enough space for numbers with 2 digits. In your building, you need space for 3 digits. It's not a very common problem for architecture. So June, this is the Sky Garden. This is this inside, outside, elevated public space that exists only in the Shanghai Tower.
That's right.
And tell me how the inspiration for this space is inextricably Chinese.
In Shanghai, we have small courtyards.
Yeah.
Even in Beijing, you have gardens, But it's really about a garden space. It's really about in-between space is kind of a blurred boundary between outside and inside. So people create a sense of energy and a sense of harmonize with nature,
These sky gardens are an example of how the tower is creating milestones for China's construction industry. And today, a major event is about to take place.
So I'm standing on the 125th floor of the building, super, super high. It's this space that when it's done will be the observation deck. And what's amazing about this building is the incredible twisting shape of the building all comes to its apex right here in something called the crown. And the crown is this beautiful glass cap that's supported by all this steel around me. And the amazing thing is today, that steel is being completed with that final piece hanging out over Shanghai.
When complete, at 632 meters above ground, this building will be the tallest in China, a symbol of the country's reach. China's plan to transform its economy through cities has been a triumph. It now has the single largest economy in the world. But such rapid and total urbanization could not have happened by fiat alone. A massive construction workforce had been mobilized to make China's urban dream a reality.
向右蹲，向左蹲，向后蹲。早操现在开始。加油，跑步，走！一、二、三、四、一、二、三、四、一、二、三、四。
So it might look like I just joined the Chinese military, but actually, I'm at Sani Engineering Construction College. This is college, this is a university.
China's national push to urbanize created a demand for skilled construction workers far beyond supply. So industry leaders founded a university to train the workforce China needed. These young men are acquiring the physical and mental skills they'll need to build the cities of tomorrow.
Okay, who's number one? I want to see who's the best. Is it you? Who? You? Are you the best? What's your name?
My name is Frank.
Frank? Come over here. Bring it up, Frank. Round of applause for Frank. Round of applause for Frank. Come here. Come here. Frank.
Yeah.
You claim to be the best excavator operator in the whole class.
Maybe I'm best.
Maybe he's the best. Or maybe he's not. We're gonna find out in a one-on-one, head-to-head, no-holds-barred challenge, sudden death, no overtime. Let's do this.
Thank you.
Come on. All right. Okay. I'm taking you down, Frank. I'm taking you down. You're gonna win?
Yes.
Let's find out. So we got 2 minutes on the clock. Hey, Frank, look over there. Frank, your mom's coming.
Ready, go.
I'm coming at you, Frank. Go big or go home, buddy.
3, 2, 1.
All right, so what's the score? No. So in terms of the amount of dirt that each of us hauled, I hauled a whopping 2,000 kilograms. Round of applause for me. Frank.
Yeah.
The country's farmlands are polluted, as is 3/5 of its groundwater. China's rise has been unprecedented, but it's put its natural resources, its environment, and the health of its citizens at risk. With China's building boom has come disastrous pollution, including smog so lethal, they call it airpocalypse. The government has begun to focus on the problem, declaring war on pollution, and deploying pilot programs around the country to find potential solutions.
Dr. Yang?
Hey, hi.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
今天采样的时候穿的衣服
Requisite biohazard suit. This is like straight out of the movie Outbreak.
Dr. Yang and his team from the Environmental Protection Agency are testing the water quality of a lake in Tianjin.
其实我们不用穿的这么就是这样防护的。现在这个水质状况已经非常好了。
Apparently, Dr. Yang didn't play dress up as a kid and doesn't realize there's the kind of exciting opportunity of just getting into the role. But it's good to be in the moment, you know, to just embrace it.
OK，
Okay, let's go. Let's do it.
5年前有这一片呢，就是说包括这个岛这儿，还有这后面这一片，整个这一片区域呢，都是一个污水库，用来存放这个化工废水的。当时呢，就是味道呢非常的大，就是离这儿很远的时候呢，就能闻到那种刺鼻的味道。然后颜色呢是那种黑的，深黑色的那种。
So in 5 years' time, you've gone from literally a black lagoon into something that may not be drinkable, but it's certainly a heck of a lot better.
Cleaning up dirty water helps.
All right, Dr. Yang, bring it home.
But as China's cities continue to grow, remediation will simply not be enough. The more energy city dwellers use, the more cars they drive, the more pollution they create. Environmentalist Peggy Liu explains the mindset behind China's recent building boom.
You know, mainland Chinese culture right now is such that they are in experimentation mode, which means, you know, raise it, build it. It's part of this experimentation, this pilot at city scale model.
So this kind of iterative model where you're not afraid to just try.
That's right. We're not afraid to try because it's at China cost, which is cheaper. It's at China paced, right? So commercialization, experimentation happens faster. We're innovating at gigascale, as I said. It's amazing. Nobody else is doing it.
But urban experiments of that size have global implications.
The problem with China's is that we're bigger, so we're polluting more as we grow and industrialize. And frankly, we're at a point, the globe, the planet, Earth, is at a point where it can't afford China to pollute at China scale.
Real solutions have to prevent the problems before they start, driving growth while putting the brakes on emissions. One solution that moves urbanization forward on a more sustainable track: bullet trains. Since 2008, when China decided to bet on high-speed rail, it went all in. So far, they've built 10,000 kilometers of track. Now compare that to the second biggest network in the world, Spain's, which has less than 4,000 kilometers. Connecting over 100 cities, China's high-speed rail network is the largest, fastest, and most complex on Earth. And it's still growing. By next year, it'll cover over 45,000 kilometers. Gerald Olivier is a transportation specialist who's playing a critical role in the development of China's bullet train system.
This is the infancy days of China high-speed rail. What you can see is France has been working on this for a little more than 30 years. So you're comparing a newborn system with a system that is mature, and yet you have 6 times.
This eco-city, as skeptical as I was, is actually the beginning of an alternative. The housing is here, but it's sustainable housing. But they're also trying to limit the use of the car, increase public transportation, create mixed-use environments, intergenerational housing, all of these ideas that are nowhere to be seen in cities like Beijing. The idea is those cities are working, they're dense, they're intense, but the quality of life is coming down, and Chinese folks want an alternative. Now, will this work? I don't know, but for sure, this is the first time anywhere in China where I'm seeing these ideas in practice.
Burgeoning eco-cities will succeed only if their residents can travel quickly to and from larger cities, and they can stay connected to their families back home. Shania Shen is part of a new generation of young people who have left their hometowns in pursuit of greater opportunity in big cities. Today, she's heading home for the holidays.
How difficult is it to get a ticket during Chinese New Year?
Without the fast train, we had to slow the Chinese train. At that time, there were not that many trains, and we only released the ticket about 10 days before the day you need to departure. So you can't purchase a month beforehand, no way. But now we have the fast train, a lot more trains going, it's faster, more frequency, so it's not as difficult now.
谢谢。 This is us, number 7?
Yeah, and it's calling us. We have to go now.
All right.
Suzhou is 100 kilometers from Shanghai. Now, the trip used to take 2 hours, but on the bullet train, it takes only 30 minutes, traveling at around 300 kilometers per hour.
Talk to me about the landscape, because as you look out the window, how has this changed and evolved? I mean, for example, I see cranes, I see skyscrapers, and I imagine this was probably agricultural farmland 5-10 years ago.
You're completely right, and that was the part I actually feel quite sad in a way. Urbanization is fantastic, you know, China is developing skyscrapers, but then again, 10 years ago maybe, these places will be just all agriculture. Now the city is expanding, and the factory is now moving out of the city.
Right, as real estate values skyrocket, you can't possibly keep factories in downtown areas.
Exactly.
They put skyscrapers in cities, and the factories move here.
Indeed.
The next station is Suzhou Station.
Thank you. 谢谢. Which one's your dad?
The one in the black shirt.
The one that looks very excited to see you, who's
Yeah.
like, can't wait. Hello, ni hao.
Hello.
Ni hao, I'm Danny.
Ni hao.
Shamling Mu, nice to meet
Ni
you.
hao.
How are you? Hello. Hi, I'm Danny. Ni hao. 谢谢.
All right.
The village is actually not that far from Shanghai, but Shania is welcomed as though she's traveled an incredible distance.
Hi, ni hao.
And in a way, she kind of has, in terms of how different her life is in the big city.
This is my grandma.
Hello. Ni hao.
Ni hao. My grandma is over 70 years old. This is probably the first time seeing an American guy.
I see. So I get to feel special today?
You should.
This is an awkward moment when I'm forced to be the representative for the American people. But I'll do my best.
My dad is saying lunch is ready.
He's hungry.
Shall we?
Let's eat.
Yes.
Shania's homecoming is a scene that's repeated millions of times throughout China, when new urbanites grab that chance to visit the families they left behind.
Okay. 谢谢.
Especially during national holidays, when China experiences the largest annual migration in the world.
So in terms of the rail infrastructure and train usage, is it fair to say that this is the highest traffic day in the year?
You're designed specifically for China's needs. And once they go on site, the company keeps a close watch.
您好，我们这边是3一顺丰的，很高兴为您服务。
看到这里面的工作人员就是我们在总部的部分的2线服务工程师。
And right now, they're monitoring SANY equipment in different cities all over China.
对，比如说我们可以看到设备的一个详细的地理位置，然后我们还可以看到它设备的一些施工的情况，包括一些非常简单的故障问题，都可以通过这套系统来体现。
It's just incredible to think that right now, as I look at this map, as I look at all of China, there's
200,000 pieces of equipment.
and you're monitoring all of them.
These machines are the tools that built modern China. They are just as advanced and powerful as you might imagine, and they're also surprisingly graceful.
At SANY, it's one thing to make a tremendous amount of high-tech construction equipment. But even with an amazing machine like this and a pair of novice hands, it's just a big pile of metal. So today, I'm going to meet some of the finest operators in the entire company, and they are going to show me what they can do. Gentlemen, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you. Tiago, what's your name? Robot. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Hi. Dawn. So we got Robot, Tiago, and Dawn. We have 3 of the finest operators in the whole company who are holding 3 very bizarre tools with them. Robot, you have a bottle of beer with you. Tiago, you have an egg. And lastly, Dawn, you're carrying parchment and a calligraphy pen. Really good crane operators tend to talk about the bucket or the jib as an extension of their arm, but this is really going to put that to the test when he's literally going to try and write not just cursive, but beautiful calligraphic kanji letters. Take it away, my friend. Look at that. He's dabbing the edge of the pen to get any residual ink off it. You gotta check out his focus. I mean, look at this guy's face. He's like totally locked in, super calm. Keeping in mind, these are devices that are typically used to move dirt and boulders and rocks, and now he's managing a calligraphy pen. That was amazing. That was really incredible. Quality changes the world, huh? In kanji with an excavator. Robot, the floor is yours, buddy. And that just happened. Bring it home. 5 for 5. Does he have it? Oh, he has it, ladies and gentlemen. That's a robot with an excavator. That's craziness. Woo! That was super weird, but amazing. This is like some elaborate mating ritual. Well, there you have it, the big finale. We've moved spoons, we've opened beer bottles, we've made calligraphy. I mean, when you think about what these guys build, construction equipment, heavy steel machines to lift things and dig things and create things, what you don't think about is this, the kind of intense, eloquent, articulated precision that we got to see here today. And I can tell you, I've been to a lot of construction sites. I've never seen anything like that before.
While this all might seem kind of silly, the focus and precision required to pull off a performance like that is exactly what's needed at a big, complex construction project, like the Shanghai Tower. If China's incredible growth and economic success need an illustration, look to its skyline.
If you take a step back and look at the 3 mega towers in downtown Shanghai, you can almost get a kind of a visual history of China's recent development. Now, what do I mean? Take the Jinmao Tower. 1999, this building with its step pagoda roof is China looking to its history for inspiration. About a decade later, 2008, the Shanghai World Financial Center. This abstract, geometric icon is China looking outwardly to the globe for new ideas. And today, the nearly completed Shanghai Tower. Here you have a building whose philosophy and its design is steeped in Chinese tradition, but simultaneously through its technology, it's all about China's future.
The tower's completion will represent the culmination of the last 30 years of urbanization.
Ooh. So where I'm standing is on the outside of the building. Look at them. That's inside the building. Look, they're on solid ground. Their feet feel on it's concrete. There's a sense of stability to it. Look at this. It's like a chicken coop. I mean, if ever a picture explains everything I'm trying to describe, it's that. That piece of steel hanging right there is hanging above the Shanghai World Financial Center. That sums it up. Whew, okay. Let's install some steel, boys. Let's define a skyline, huh? Let's redefine the skyline with the completion of an icon, huh? So if you look at that steel piece, you can see it's got 2 pipe-like legs, and each one of those legs are gonna kind of come into position, and we're gonna locate that pipe directly on here, bolted together, and ultimately weld it into place. And it's this steel right here that's gonna hold the glass that will create the top of the building. Oh man, here it is coming up. I mean, that's just hands down one of the craziest things you'll ever see on a construction site. Once the piece is locked in its final position, then that brave soul has to climb the ladder and physically detach the piece from the crane. But what that means is this piece of steel is in its final position. That was very, very impressive, sir.
Shanghai Tower is a gorgeous symbol of China's progress, but it's not an empty symbol. Created with the most sophisticated digital technology in the world, it incorporates cutting-edge sustainable systems and pioneers the vertical urban courtyard in every way, architecturally, environmentally, culturally. And it doesn't just symbolize progress, it redefines it.
You know, I have to say, I've been given an amazing opportunity. For the last 3 months, I've got to travel all over China and get a really unique perspective on this country and the culture. I've got to be in a classroom meeting the kids who will be building the Chinese cities of the future. I've got to travel at Formula One speeds in their new high-speed rail network. And I got to climb over 2,000 feet in the air and get an incredible view of the Shanghai skyline. Oh, my whole body went. And one thing is clear, urbanization, right? It's happening, and it's impacting really every layer of Chinese society. At the macro scale, think about cities. They're building more and denser cities than anywhere else in the world. There's a construction manufacturing company creating a new excavator every 10 minutes. And in terms of high-speed rail, they have laid more track here in the last 6 years than any other Western country in the last 50. We know urbanization creates wealth, but it also creates problems. And as fast as China is building their cities, they're also working to stop some of these problems. Think about the Tianjin Eco-City, a master plan designed to roll back carbon emissions. There's a grassroots effort to preserve the hutong and hang on to that original texture that made Beijing what it was. And there are skyscrapers with green, sustainable spaces located literally thousands of feet in the air. But for me, the question is this. China is working to raise their standard of living, but in doing so, can they preserve their quality of life?